the edges, like the Interstellar Patrol. He delights in creating obscure, complex, often many-sided conundrums for his characters, and then taking us with him as they unravel the problem one strand at a time. I see a lot of the Golden Age in his stories, echoes of Williamson's Legion of Space, or of John Campbell's Arcot, Wade, and Maury in the scale and the sweeping, half-laughing scope of the problems he inflicts upon his characters. And most delightfully of all, in our post-Star Trek universe, there isn't a trace of the prime directive. There are only characters with wit, humor, courage, and rather more audacity than is good for them. While it is inevitable that any volume which is going to deal with Vaughan Roberts and company has to start with Strangers to Paradise, that story, excellent as it is, was never really my favorite Interstellar Patrol story. I'm not sure why. Perhaps it's because the want generator is a bit too much like Williamson's AKKA superweapon in the Legion of Space stories. Or perhaps it's because the want generator is a little too much of the one aspect of Anvil's stories which sometimes disturbs me on a philosophical level. His characters, by their nature, are the sort of people who set out to fix problems, yet sometimes the means they embrace fringe just a little too closely upon a sort of intellectual totalitarianism. Not in terms of ideology per se, but in the willingness to manipulate and control in ways which cannot be resisted. At the same time, however, Anvil is always careful to show the pitfalls of such an approach, as in Strangers to Paradise itself, when the subjects of our heroes' mind control stubbornly persist in doing something their controllers never counted on. Yet whether or not Strangers to Paradise would make my own list of top 5 Anvil stories, it is most definitely the direct and necessary progenitor of what undoubtedly are my 2 favorite IP stories, The King's Legions, which is included in this volume, and the short novel Warlord's World, which is not, but which I hope and expect will be along shortly. It's always seemed to me that just as Laumer's novella The Night of the Trolls captures the essential Laumer hero perfectly, The King's Legions and Warlord's World capture the essential Anvil. For those of us who have known Anvil for years, this book is a most welcome reunion with old friends. For those not already familiar with him, it offers an introduction to a writer and to characters very much worth knowing. In some ways, I rather envy the reader who is about to experience his or her first concentrated dose of Anvildom. If you're one of those newcomers, welcome aboard. Whichever Anvil tale winds up your favorite, at least you'll have a rich and varied selection to choose from. This volume contains many of my favorites, but there's a lot more Anvil out there, and I hope that Bean will bring more of it to us. In the meantime, you hold in your hands an excellent starting point. Buckle up tight. It's going to be an energetic ride. Editor's Preface. Without a doubt, Christopher Anvil's richest and most developed setting was what he and John Campbell, who edited Astounding Analog magazine where most of the stories originally appeared, called the colonization series. Anvil wrote over 30 stories in that setting, ranging in length from short stories to the novel Warlord's World. At the heart of the colonization series are the stories concerning the Interstellar Patrol, which are the best known. But Anvil wrote a number of stories in the same setting, in which the Interstellar Patrol does not figure directly. These stories often involved such organizations as the Space Force, the Planetary Development Authority and the Stellar Scouts, the Space Navy, and a wide range of civilians, from big businessmen to merchant spacemen to colonists on the ground. Often enough, characters who appear in cameo or minor roles in the Interstellar Patrol stories are the protagonists of other stories. An example is the ruthless businessman Nels Krojack, who is only mentioned in passing in The King's Legions and The Royal Road, but is a central figure in Compound Interest and Experts in the Field. In this volume, we are reissuing the first 2 major episodes of Anvil's Interstellar Patrol adventures, as well as, in Part 3, a number of stories which give the reader a sense of the setting as a whole. Eric Flint. Part 1. Paradise. Strangers to Paradise. Vaughan Nathan Roberts.